New York, tonight you have delivered a mandate for change, a mandate for a new kind of politics, a mandate for a city we can afford.
Yeah, I have to tell you, when I was sitting there watching the speech last night, I was wondering, who is this? I've been watching Mr. Mondami for almost a year now, and I don't know him, but just from what I see on TV and whatnot, he seems like the happiest guy in the world. He's always upbeat. He's always smiling. He just seems,
And a mandate for a government that delivers exactly that. New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants, and as of tonight, led by an immigrant.
All right. So, Richard, want to get your take on what we're hearing there and whether or not you're seeing that same shift in tone that many of the commentators talked about.
It just didn't feel like who he was. It almost felt like someone who had been bullied his whole life, and then the bully gets taken away or something, and they feel relieved, or like the people down in the village take over the castle and put the king's head out on a spike or something. He really made this whole speech about getting rid of oppression and that they were being held down, and he was being held down, his followers were, but now that's over. Of cheer. And last night is sort of interesting. My first reaction was, wow, who is this? Is this the same guy? Because his speech had none of that in it. It was harsh. It was a bit mean. It was angry. And there were a lot of things in that speech that were, I think, unnecessarily harsh. There's something he said that you also showed a little while ago that maybe a lot of people didn't get. But he said a quote that you campaign. Well, I'll do it exactly. He said, "Let me quote a great New Yorker our lives." So on one hand, you have Democratic socialists like Mondami, like Ocasio-Cortez, like Senator Sanders, saying we want the government more involved in our lives. Give us housing. Give us health care. Give us these other things. Then you have people on the other side saying, no, we want government out of our lives. Now, the irony of all of this, by the way, just an interesting point, is, President Trump, who argues against exactly what he says, the government, our government, invested 10%. No problem is too large for government to solve or too small for it to care about. Well, that's really an amazing comment, because what he's saying is, we, the government, are now going to get tremendously involved in people's lives in a lot of ways. And it's interesting because we're living in a time where most of Trump's supporters are going completely the opposite way, which is we want government out of a huge stake in Intel, which is the government, our government, owning a private company. That hasn't happened before. So there's a slippery slope here.